What's good with it, Black Goose TV family? Double salute. As always, your boy Fluenceboxing is back in the building again. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excellent. Today I wasn't late. Salute to me for that. We got some things we want to discuss today, man. We got a lot of boxing news that we need to cover. And it just so happens to surround a particular subject, two particular opponents that just so happen have a chance to make a wave in this current hot and crazy heavyweight division. Obviously, y'all know who I'm talking about because you guys want to have clicked on the actual video without reading the title. Joseph Parker, Joyce is happening this weekend. I love it, man. Look, we just got off the weekend of Canelo versus Triple G3. Me personally, a letdown. I didn't really enjoy the fight. I thought it was just kind of just it was just like a big, it should have happened sooner. And now that I'm seeing it, it's just not, it don't feel right. Kind of like the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight. I had the same feelings for that fight that I have for this one. Oh, excuse me. And not, obviously not even close in the same, reference or page because I was a lot younger for the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight. But still, when I watched it, I got the same feeling like we got this way too late. This shouldn't be happening. But anyways, we are coming off of that weekend. A big fight that did happen, a letdown to me, to others maybe not, whatever the case may be. I love it that it's being followed up with a great heavyweight showdown between Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce. And I'm gonna say this too: in no way can I see this fight not being great. And the reason why I say this, and some people can actually counter me with this and be like, well, Joseph Parker, man, his last 3 to 4 fights haven't really been great. Joseph Parker, sometimes, unfortunately, respectfully, he's known to have some pretty boring fights. But he's also known to have some great fights, though, too. Joe Joyce, on the other hand, if you pay attention, if you watch him, if you know who he is, I don't think I've ever seen him in a boring fight. The brother comes forward no matter what. He's in there either to knock somebody out or to get knocked out. And so the reason behind me saying that there's no way I can see this fight being boring, despite a lot of people, having their thoughts when it comes to Joseph Parker and his style and his stylistic approach. At the end of the day, the words that I heard from Joseph Parker, and you got to see that tonight, man. I'm dropping a video. Joseph Parker has some words for Joe Joyce. He's talking in a way I haven't heard him talk in a little bit. Seems like he's reignited that fire, man. Seems like he's, back on a good foot. You know what I'm saying? Heavy stepping, feeling like, he's on another level because, him predicting a knockout, saying he's looking for the KO. That's strong words from Joseph Parker, man. He's not just looking to box, but I think he knows that it's going to be hard to just box against Joe Joyce for 12 rounds, especially since he's a bigger fighter. So he's going to have to put pressure on Joe Joyce. He's going to have to make Joe Joyce somewhat respect his power for him to have a chance in this fight, if you want me to be real with you. But before we get into all the breakdown, the analytics, all the good stuff, I'm going to salute to everybody. I'm going to say respect to everybody. Happy Tuesday. You feel me? We almost at the middle of the week, which means we only a couple days, 3 days to be exact, from Fluence Lounge with a great fight in Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. So hopefully everyone had a great day. Everyone was cooling. Everyone was moving. Everyone was grooving. So salute to y'all for that. If y'all come up in here, hit the like button as always, like, subscribe, all that good shit. You feel me? But let's get back into the boxing because that's all I want to be about tonight, man. That's what I'm really feeling. I'm feeling heavy about the boxing because I'm really invested in this Joseph Parker versus Joe Joyce fight. The reason why I'm invested is because I never thought this fight would actually happen, if you want me to be 100% with you. Joseph Parker is a boxer I've been a fan of for a very long time, in my personal opinion. At least 4 years at this point. Some be like, oh man, that's little shit. Like I said, I'm old to young to some, I'm young to others. Anyways, and I've always been a big fan of Joe Joyce. So to see them actually collide at this point, I think, look, if you want me to be 100 with you, Joseph Parker put himself in this position. I think Joseph Parker could have avoided Joe Joyce his entire career if he wanted to. But he put himself in this position because I think personally he got the AJ fight too soon in his career. People don't realize how young Joseph Parker is. He's barely 30 years old. I think he got the Anthony Joshua fight when he was like 26 or something like that. But he just got it too early. He got a big payday. And when he lost that fight, Even though it was one of the most boring fights in the world, if anybody remembers AJ versus Joseph Parker, that was not a good fight. It just seemed like every fight after that from Joseph Parker, it was a little bit of a different mindset. I don't know if the training was different. Obviously, he's with a new trainer now, but he still has his guy, Andy Lee. Andy Lee hasn't gone anywhere, but I just seen a difference in his performances. He still got the W's, right? You can't take away from the W's. You can't take away from the fact that he still got the wins. That is what it is. But the way he got it in comparison before, how he got his wins in the AJs, it's almost like he just got that big payday. You feel me? And things just shifted. Like I remember Chisora fight, obviously, because it was one of the most recent fights, is the most recent fight. But there's just times he could have just put Chisora away, and it could have been, respect. That could have been a respect factor too. But for him to, and he even talked about, I remember him, with the Huey Fury fight. The Huey Fury fight, was a relatively boring fight. And I think Joseph Parker could have put way more pressure on Huey Fury, and he just didn't. But he got the W. So basically what I'm saying is, I think this is going to be interesting because Joseph Parker is now saying, hey, I'm looking for the KO. I'm looking for the knockout. I'm looking to go in for the kill. Not necessarily in those particular words, but nonetheless, if you guys want to know the specifics, the video's dropping a little bit later tonight. But with him having that mindset, obviously having, a new trainer in the corner, still has Andy Lee, that's family to him, but has a new trainer kind of taking the realms. Obviously he feels revitalized, re-energized. And I like what he's saying. I do. I like it a lot. The question is, when he gets in there with the juggernaut, will he be able to maintain that? Because like I said, he's going to be changing a aspect stylistically of his fighting that he has not done in really the last 3 to 4 fights. And now he's just going to do it against Joyce. And let me get back to my main point, because I got a little diverted. My bad, y'all. When I was saying the reason why Joseph Parker could have avoided this is simply not getting too lax. I feel like he got too relaxed. That was why I was bringing up the payday, etc. He, unfortunately, in my personal opinion, from what I saw, he just took off the pedal off the gas a little bit. And now he's in a position where you see guys getting L's, right? AJ's getting L's. And I know it's a whole nother tier when it comes to these type of things, when it comes to money and investment and all that stuff. I'm not, I understand that, but you guys getting L, Deontay Wilder getting L, like guys getting L's and still being able to put themselves in a position. Andy Ruiz in a position to get big money payday fights, but it's because of how they took the L's. And so now Joseph Parker is like, well, who is there that I can fight? There's guys other than Joyce he can fight. But he's looking at, oh, wait, AJ lost to Fury. Fury's been my sparring, but I could beat him. I could beat Usyk. I can beat Wilder. I can beat Ruiz. And so now this, in my personal opinion, now he has this, now he's going crazy. Like he's like, oh, I didn't expect this. He probably in his mind, he thought AJ was probably going to reign over the heavyweight title and he would never get that shot again. And the shit shifted. So is it too little too late? Like I said, he's only 30 years old. It's going to be interesting. Jason Taylor said Parker for the win. Faster foot movement, better record, more experience, more knockouts, more punch selection, and Chin's been tested by top 10 elite heavyweights. I'm not mad at that. I actually tend to agree with you on everything but the first statement, right? And I'm not going to say necessarily who I think is going to win. I'm just not going to say I agree or I'm going to disagree. But I will say I got some skepticism when it says Parker for the win. I agree. Faster foot movement. Absolutely. Better record. Absolutely. More experience. Yes. More knockouts. Yes. More punch selection. Yes. And the Chin has been tested by top 10 elite heavyweights. Yes. You were correct. But Joyce, despite the fact of him only have, I believe, 16 or 17 fights, his amateur experience, especially him going to the Olympics, he didn't have a lot of fights in amateur, but who he fight mattered. He fought the who's. He fought AJ. Yeah, he got knocked out. He lost. But he did fight AJ, just like Parker did. He fought Usyk twice in amateur. Yeah, he did. He lost, but he fought him. He has those guys on his record. Then he has Sterveen, of course. Then he has Jennings, of course. And then he has Daniel Dubois, of course. And a lot of people were probably saying Daniel Dubois is too young, all this stuff. Y'all just wait. Daniel Dubois is going to be the problem in the heavyweight division. So right now, you guys don't want to think Daniel Dubois is a big one on Joyce, but I'm telling you right now, Daniel Dubois gives some of these guys a lot of trouble. He's only 25 years old. I'm telling you, Daniel Dubois is going, like, I seen it. Like, I never thought he should have took that fight with Joe Joyce. It was too early in his career, but anyways. But I agree with you. Of course, Parker has fought more top 10 elite heavyweights, but is his record really better than Joe Joyce? Joe Joyce has experience just as well. Like, I just named off, the guys he fought. So that people don't really want to talk about because it was before he was a professional. But he has those names, on his record. So, yes, Parker, professionally, yes, much more experience. I can't disagree with faster foot movement. Maybe more knockouts. Yes, that's correct. More knockout power. I don't believe that. Better punch selection. I do believe Joseph Parker has a better punch selection. The problem with Joseph Parker, though, is he will slow down. We've seen it multiple times. That's what I'm scared of when it comes to Joseph Parker. I've seen him always slow down at some points when he should put you need to put the foot on the pedal, man. Go ahead, empty that drain out. Change the clutch, whatever the case may be, man. You need to go, and he won't, and he'll let off. That's what happened with Derek Chisora. That's why the fight went the way it went. Is because he took his foot off the gas. Well, I mean, Joseph Parker won, obviously, but it was too close. He should have been able to knock out Chisora. If you do that against Joe Joyce, I'm telling you, that's not going to look good for Parker. Parker can't let off the gas. He has to be in the best shape of his life for this fight. Joe Joyce will consistently move forward, and that's what a lot of people don't want to talk about. That's why I said I agree with everything you're saying, Taylor. He's a better boxer, he has a better jab, better IQ, faster foot movement, better record, more experience, more knockouts, more punch selection. I agree with that. But what Joe Joyce has, he has a chin, just like Joseph does. He's fought some of the who's, even if it was before the professionals. But one thing he has better than Parker, one thing that's going to matter in this fight, actually two things. His gas tank and his power. This is going to be the first time Parker is going to be fighting someone who's going to consistently move forward throughout the entire fight. Chisora did it. No, Chisora doesn't do it like Joe Joyce. Why? Because Chisora is 5'10". Joe Joyce is 6'6". I'm telling you, the whole entire time, Parker's punching up. Joe Joyce is punching down. That's another thing. Punching up. Try it, guys. If you punch up, you're going to get a lot more tired than if you're punching down. It's a lot easier to punch down than it is to punch up. Let's talk about it. Jason Taylor said, Joyce's chin only been tested by top 50 opponents. Joyce got knocked out in the first round in the amateurs by a Russian in 30 seconds. Joyce can be dropped. But he got knocked out by AJ too, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not saying that. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not saying he can't get knocked out. But what I am saying is the opponents that he's faced, you can't knock them. You said he's only been tested by top 50 opponents. He fought Usyk twice, I believe. I might be wrong on that. I know it was at least once, but I'm pretty sure he fought Usyk twice. And he lost. And you said top 50 opponents, man. Brian Jennings contended for a chip. That's disrespectful. Bermain Sterving was at one time WBC belt holder. I don't do that. Daniel Dubois just won the WBA heavyweight title. What do you mean? That's disrespectful, Jason Taylor. I understand where you're coming from, but don't disrespect Joyce's resume. He got some guys. I'm telling you right now, just remember this. I want you to remember this moment. I'm confident that Joseph Parker is a better boxer. What I'm scared of for Joseph Parker, and what a lot of people probably don't even realize, you know what I'm saying, the OG family members would, but I'm a big fan of both of these fighters. I can't believe this fight has happened. I never even would have thought it would happen, but I feel like Joseph Parker put himself in a situation because he sees he needs to take a big chance to put himself in the conversation with these other big money fights that's happening. Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius, Andy Ruiz is available. He can fight Luis Ortiz. That's a big fight, Joseph Parker versus Luis Ortiz. Like these are all big fight. You know, Usyk is available. AJ versus Fury. He can fight the loser of that. Say AJ loses, he can fight AJ for that second fight. Like, but to put himself in that position, he has to take his own chance. And this is him fighting Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce understands that as well. Joe Joyce is no young guy. People don't really, realize this too. This might be, but I still think Joyce is in his prime because he's not old. But Joyce is 36, Parker's 30. So, both of them are in the same position, but I think Joyce is punching up in the sense of rankings, obviously, to fight Joseph Parker, while Joseph Parker's fight, punching down. But in the actual fight, it's going to be reversed, surprisingly. But I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm definitely not gonna get my prediction. I'm just kind of saying, how I feel about it. I'm just trying to point out certain factors that a lot of people aren't looking at it in the way that they should be. You got and it is what it is. It's entertainment. So you have very simplistic ways of it being broken down, but there's certain things that you just have to acknowledge, regardless of the fact that Joseph Parker is just a better overall boxer. Styles make matchups. Styles make fights. If we have a guy in Joseph Parker who is used to outboxing their opponent, he can do that against Joe Joyce. The question is, will he be able to do it in a sense of keeping Joe Joyce from coming forward like the animal and monster he is? That's the question. And if you look at some of the most recent fights that Joseph Parker has had, there has been times where, yes, he'll win the rounds, and there'll be rounds where he takes them off. He cannot do that against Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce will capitalize off of that. And it's interesting with his new trainer, off of what I've seen. It seems like he is utilizing a different approach in the sense of, I'm more so looking for, I won't say a knockout, but I'm putting pressure. I'll be on the outside, and I'll get back on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Angle out, stay on the inside, maybe use the body. A very kind of like, I can't say Usyk approach versus Joshua, but just it seems like Joseph Parker and the new trainer he's with, they're going to capitalize off of him being a smaller fighter, which I think is smart. I don't think you should try and play the big man game with Joe Joyce. You're going to lose. Daniel Dubois is a bigger man than Joseph Parker, a younger man, and it didn't work. I don't care what you talk about experience to boxing skills. So it's like, that's not the way to do it, but you're going to have to utilize different aspects of the game against Joe Joyce. That's all you can do, because the one template that you can definitely use is not the Russian who knocked him out in 30 seconds or AJ who put work on him. You have to watch the Usyk fight. And that's what Usyk did. And I also think that's why Usyk is so confident in the heavyweight division, is because he mishandled, put work in on Joe Joyce. And that was in the Olympics. So that's my personal opinion. It's like people can discredit Joe Joyce all they want. And he's been discredited in his entire boxing career. They've said the same thing about Joe Joyce. He's too slow. His fundamentals are terrible. His feet is terrible. Doesn't have any athleticism. I've always been the one to say, man, there's equalizers in the sport. There just is. I put an extra S on it, but there's equalizers in the sport at the end of the day. You can have the best boxer in the world when it comes to fundamentally sound angles, in and out, defensive wizard. The equalizer always is going to be power. That's just how life is. It's not fair. You can have all these different things, but if someone has power and knows how to use it, these two will equal out these four. That's just what it is. People got to acknowledge that. People don't. That's why they get hurt when they fight. I used to be the same way. But it's like at the end of the day, this shit ain't fair. Not saying Joyce can't win, but Jennings was small. Jennings 6'3", man. That's what he's listed as. I think he's 6'2", but he's listed as 6'3", 6'4". That's the same height as Joseph Parker, and punch up and hurt Joyce. Bermain Sterling is 6'3". Daniel Dubois is bigger than Joseph Parker. Daniel Dubois is 24, 25 years old. He's 6'4", 6'5", I think. 250. AJ was 6'6" as well. Usyk 6'3". Usyk used foot movement and speed. I think Parker will use angles. But let me ask you this, Jason. I agree in the sense of yes, Parker will use angles. And the reason why I say this is because I watched this and I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up a little later, not the actual workout, but BT Sport, they dropped a little, let me see what it's called. Training Day with Joseph Parker, Tyson Fury, and Andy Lee. And they have it with Joseph Parker too. We're not gonna watch the whole thing because I don't want to get copyrighted. We'll probably do like 3 minutes watching of both of them. But we'll watch that a little bit later. But no, I agree with you. Parker's going to use angles because I watched the little workout that he did with his new trainer. He still has Andy Lee, but he has another trainer in as well. That's new. And they're working on angles. They was working on countering off of Joe Joyce's jab, slipping, throwing an uppercut to the body, which is nice work, and then coming over the top with the left hook. But after the left hook comes, right, what you want to end up doing, angling out, then switching, and then getting out of there. So I do like what I was seeing. I was like, okay, their game plan is we're not just going to try and fight them from the outside. We're not going to try and box with them. At times, we are going to try and hurt them. And what I said in the particular video was one of the most vulnerable aspects of Joe Joyce's game is not his lack of athleticism and it's not his lack of know-how, because he's been in the game long enough. Even though he's older, he's been in the game long enough. He's fought high-level opposition. You can't take that away from him. His jab is very effective, but if you watch the Usyk fight, if you can time him, you can use that to his detriment, because it's effective, but it's slow. So what I saw from Joseph Parker and his trainer, they was working on slipping off the jab. So if he throws a slow jab, slip to the body, over the top, then you angle out, come back close enough where you can push off, angle, whatever the case may be. Now, but basically you're in a power position. Now, how easy is that going to work? I don't know. That's the plan. That's a beautiful game plan for the most part. The question is going to be on the round. Like I said, I think the game plan is in place. I think Joseph Parker is going to do it to a T. I think he's going to follow it. He's going to win rounds, and he's going to look beautiful doing it. But my problem is, or not problem, but my question is it going to be enough to keep Joe Joyce off of him? Is it going to be enough to possibly stop Joe Joyce? Or will it be enough to deter Joe Joyce from basically implementing his own game plan, which will be obviously, I'm going to keep coming forward. I'm going to keep coming forward, because at some point you're going to take a break. And at some point, I'm not. I never take a break. And that's what I seen, you know what I'm saying? So I know we can talk about him being, KO'd in the amateurs, but I'm like, in the pros, he hasn't been. Because defense is tight. That's what a lot of people don't see. His defense is tight. His jab is tight. Honestly, yeah, you can say there's a weakness in his jab. Problem is, he's 6'6". You're punching up. He has a longer reach. It's easier said than done. You have to put yourself in danger just to be able to get there. And that's going to be confident. That's going to have to be. So I think, man, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm a Joseph Parker fan, but this is a close fight. I'm wondering what the odds is, because this is a close fight. All right, this is what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead. We're gonna pull up Training Day with Joseph Parker, Tyson Fury, Andy Lee, BT Sports Boxing. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, because you already know, man, they're gonna be on the copyright side of the game. Just try and do enough, you feel me, so we can get a little vibe, see what they on, how the training camp's going. And after we do that, we'll move on. You know what I'm saying? We'll check out on the Joe Joyce side of the game, see what they're doing. Because they released that, I think 3 days ago. This is 2 days ago. So I can't wait, man. I think it's going to be a good time, man, when it comes to this particular fight. I don't see any way of this fight not, being a classic, in my personal opinion. But we'll see. All right, here we go. It'd be crazy. What if we saw Joseph Parker get stopped for the first time? That would be crazy. That means Joseph Parker will really be the real deal.
I think the camp's just excited for this fight and eager to get this fight on. Their camp thinks that they got this fighter who's going to beat everyone and become champion of the world. I know what I can do in the ring. I know how good I can be. And I have held the world title before, but I want to hold it again. And I know I can. I know I can achieve that. Joyce has been sitting at number one for a while. After my 2 fights with Chisora, the first fight, was okay. The second fight was a lot better. And for me, it's not about moving backwards; it's about moving forwards. And
Real quick though, I'm like Joe Joyce though. He's one of those guys though. Like I don't know, man. When I watch Joe Joyce, I'm like, yeah, okay. He doesn't look that great on the mitts. He looks slow, but when you watch him in the ring, when the actual fight is happening, it's like he's a different fighter. So I don't really like. I don't really judge Joe Joyce off of what I see for his training and sparring because you know what I'm saying when I watched him in the ring, that's why I became such a big fan of him because I used to be the same way, man. Like probably like 5-6 years ago, I used to watch Joe Joyce. I used to be like, man, this dude is terrible because I'm a fundamental person. Like I love watching the fundamentals, everything being on point, everything being perfected. I used to be like, man, he don't got it in him, and I just continuously watched his fights, and I was like, and I was hoping for him to lose. And I was like, he keeps winning. And over time, you just have to realize, like, at the end of the day, it still is a sport. Yeah, it's entertainment. Yeah, it's a art. It's a science, but it's still a sport. And a sport, always you have to consider athleticism. And sometimes there's an equalizer. Well, not sometimes, but there's always an equalizer of something. You see what I'm saying? So a God-given ability to have a chin that's granted and just come forward, heavy hands, 6'6". That's an equalizer with power. You have to respect that. That's a skill within itself. Yeah, it's not going to look the greatest. Yeah, everything's not going to look mechanically, on point. Yeah, it's going to look slow. But if it works and he figured out a way to make it work and he's fought the level competition he has, I know, you may not respect Bryant Jennings. I do. I think Bryant Jennings was a solid fighter in his prime. I respect Bermain Sterveen. He was a WBC belt holder for at least one time. Daniel Dubai currently just KO'd into oblivion Trevor Bryan for the WBA heavyweight belt. I think I respect Daniel Dubai. So like I don't think Joe Joyce is just a smoke and mirrors type fighter. So it's like I can't really judge his training. Like his training and sparring never really looked good. I agree with that. But when he's in that ring, man, he's undefeated for a reason as a professional. You know what I'm saying?
person that's in front of me at the moment is Joe Joyce. So for me to want to fight for the championship of the world, and that's one of my goals, I have to get through who's in front of me. Joe Joyce. He's the one that I want, and he's the one that I got, and he's the one that I'm going to beat up.
Off your back heel, come on. Push up with your shoulders.
Well, yeah.
That's the one. That's it. That's it. That's the one.
Over the hook.
That's it. Punch through, mother. Double it. That's how you punch up the shoulders.
Shoulders, hips.
Joe's been training here with me, Parker, for maybe a year or so, 18 months coming up. Joe was having a bit of a bad spell in his career, and he was over in Vegas, and it was in a bad place, really. So I said to him, like, you can come over here and train and live with me if you want to, Joe. I'll give you a new start, a new take at it. So he came over and he gelled in, and now he's become Gypsy Joe, and everybody in Morecambe loves him. And he's a homegrown Lancashire lad now.
I love it here in Morecambe. Firstly, very grateful to.
Sometimes, man, I be hating narratives like this, like in fighters, because the thing about, what I'm saying, and so like this also supports, like I said, he changed trainers. Andy Lee's always going to be there because that's basically, what I'm saying, like a father figure in his life. So, what I'm saying, if you follow Joseph Parker, you know that. But sometimes when I see things like this and it's predicated on, the current champ, and this person moved over, in the same training camp as the current champ, so you're going to see this, this difference in performance, or you're going to see a whole new fighter. It's like I hate that narrative because it's played over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of times it never ever fails well for the fighter. It doesn't. So I'm like, when you think about that, my personal opinion, I'm just, I hope Joseph Parker is is in the right place. Because I'm telling you, man, you can't play around with Joe Joyce. Like, I hope he was. I know everyone's rooting for Joe's, for Parker. Everyone said Parker going to win, but you know what I'm saying, the change of training camps. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's go. We're gonna do maybe like three minutes of this, and then we're gonna change up. 3, 4.
Tyson
Let's
and
do 4.
what he's done for myself, and not only for myself, but everyone around him. He really looks after everyone. When you have someone like that who wants nothing but the best for you, it makes it a lot easier. Then you have Andy Lee here. There's togetherness in the way that we train, in the way that we operate. And I've made Morecambe my home. I really do enjoy it here in Morecambe, and I've made a lot of friends.
Joe's literally taken everything in my life. He's took it, hasn't he? He's took my gym. He's took my house. He's took my trainer. He's took my strength and conditioning coach. He's took my nutritional company. He's took... What else have you taken? You took my glove sponsor. Took my cafe over.
Well, what's he giving you though?
Oh.
Friendship.
Yeah.
Training partner.
Yeah.
Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, fraternity. Yeah.
Pretty good little training.
Seems fair.
No, I tell you what.
I won't lie. I don't know if it's for the cameras or if it's always like that every day, but it seems like a good environment. I say this, but at the same time, I remember, man. I remember the when he was getting ready to fight. I think the AJ fight, man. He was getting ready with Andy Lee and the current gym he was in. He was just, he was dancing around the bag, moving, moving absolutely amazing, beautifully. I remember Malik Scott walked in. He was like, "The champ is here." He was just moving to the music. So, Joseph Parker is a great fighter, man. But is Joyce going to be a little bit too much, man? Because I know we want to talk about, who he's fought, top 10, been tested. I agree. Chisora is an amazing fighter. Hughie Fury is an amazing fighter. Anthony Joshua is an amazing fighter. You feel me? But if you really want to go, tit for tat for the resumes, I think Joe Joyce is neck and neck. It just all depends on who you're familiar with and who you respect. I think they both fought top level opposition. Joseph Parker has the youth on Joe Joyce, the boxing ability, the IQ. But Joyce is going to keep coming forward, and he got that gas tank. Joseph Parker can't let off the gas for this fight.
Tell you what he's given me. He's given me motivation to train every day because he's here as well. So a training partner is a vital thing for me. Without a training partner, things become difficult. You know how hard I like to train? So to come in here and train on my own like that, I can, and I do. But it's easier if Joe's here,
Yeah.
So, yeah, friendship and the brotherhood and the training partner is probably the most important things anyone can ever have. And I feel like I can trust Joe with anything, to be fair. Maybe he'll turn out to be Midnight Captain Moonlight or something like that. I don't know. However, the proof is in the pudding, and you can only take people as you find them, can't you? So, Joe's the type of guy, I think, if I call Joe...
Interesting. Don't want to get too deep into the analyzation side of the game, but interesting. Seems like Fury needs Joseph Parker a little bit more than Joseph Parker needs Fury. Hopefully Joseph Parker made this move to the camp because it was his decision. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Sometimes you can do some things for other people that it's not in your best interest. But you think you're doing it in your best interest because it seems like it's your best interest, but it seems like Fury needs Parker a little bit more than Parker needs Fury. I don't know. Reading too much into it, I don't know.
Someone said, right, get your ball.
By the way, we're going to go to 5 minutes flat. Then we're going to move over to Joe Joyce.
Cloud your baseball bat. We got a job.
Whole lot of Fury in this. Whole lot of Fury.
He just say, "Where you meeting me?" So, my man.
My career was like this, and that was like
Good. How it should be, isn't it?
Yeah. I became champion of the world in 2016 against Andy Ruiz, lost it to Joshua on the unification bout. And then I was training and fighting, but not really enjoying it. I sort of lost the passion for it. And I felt I needed a change. And change is what's giving me that.
See, y'all want to act like I don't know what I be talking about. I didn't watch this before I did this video. I literally said, man, and he said he said after the Anthony Joshua loss, he kind of lost it. And that's what I called. Now, see, I said differently. I thought it was the bag. I thought he got too much money. He was chilling. Yo, look, I got a lot of money. And maybe that was the case. And he just don't want to make a come off of that. Or maybe I didn't think about it. That was his first loss in his career. A lot of people forget he beat Andy Ruiz. So, you know, I definitely will admit I was probably wrong when I said he saw the like he probably saw, oh, I can really, you know, have a chance at the belt again. Because AJ, you know, he took some losses and now he's, you know, he has a chance to fight Fury. But I think it's more so he probably figured that out when Andy Ruiz beat AJ the first time. He's like, I beat Andy Ruiz. You know what I'm saying? But I told y'all, I was like, after that AJ loss, man, I thought it was the bag. Maybe it was just the L, whatever the case it may be. I'm like, it seemed like he just kind of, you know, took his foot off the pedal. You feel me?
Spark back. For the first fight with Chisora, Andy and I, it was the first time to meet each other, to get to know each other, to work together. And I felt that even with that small time we had, he made a massive impact.
Anybody in any sport is at the top or is improving. It's not because they've flicked the magic switch. It's because they've worked hard. And he's worked extremely hard, improving every aspect of with his strength and conditioning, with his fitness, but also with his technique and his ability and his ability to stay engaged in fighting for longer periods. That was my biggest thing with Joseph when I watched him from afar. And when I took him over as a coach, took massive breaks in fights, in rounds, lapses in concentration.
I was interested that he just said that. That's literally what I said was going to be his problem if he fights against Joe Joyce. And I want to admit I was wrong. I kept saying Andy Lee. Of course he took Andy Lee. I don't know why I kept thinking that was his name. That was not his original coach's name. It was not Andy Lee. This is his new coach. So forgive me for my lapse of, you know, of remembrance for that. I fuck up, so my bad, y'all. But that's interesting that he specifically pointed out. At times he takes breaks, basically. He definitely just chills back and he takes, you know, so it's going to be interesting because I'm like, in this particular fight, if he take a break, that's going to be his downfall. So we got 10 more seconds of this, then we can move on to Joe Joyce.
One of my main focuses since we started working together is to iron those out and eradicate that from his boxing. And he's doing it slowly and getting better every day.
The second camp for the second Chisora fight.
We're going to stop it right there. We're going to move over to the Joe Joyce side of the game in a quick minute. Before we do, what I'm finna do, anybody want to talk their bullshit? I can. I'm going to go ahead and post a link. We about 40 minutes in. I don't know how long the stream going to go. You feel me? But I can talk your bullshit if you want to get in. Just don't be on no dumb shit. But excuse me. We're going to get on the Joe Joyce side of the game. But before I do, it's interesting to see that Joseph Parker's current trainer was working on a lot of the things that I was talking about. Now, I wasn't talking about that Joseph Parker has to work on those things. What I was talking about was Joseph Parker seems to have certain flaws that Joe Joyce would be able to take advantage of. That's all I was saying. And so with that being the case, that is where I give Joe Joyce an advantage. Because the flaws that Joseph Parker has had in the past, they're not just, okay, it happens, but, you know, he can get past that. That's not the case. The flaws that Joseph Parker has is like the perfect recipe for Joe Joyce to have success. So styles make matchups. Joe Joyce does his best against stylistic approaches who fight on the back foot, try to, fight at range, try to use their jab. And at points, they're going to take breaks. That's Joe Joyce's recipe for wins. That's where he has his most success. And not only is that the case, a lot of these fighters that he fights that have success fighting that way, they're smaller fighters than him. That's what a lot of people want to talk about. The fact that Joe Joyce is 6'6". A lot of these 6'3", 6'4", heavyweights, 6'5", in Daniel Dubois' case, they're usually bigger than a lot of their opponents, and they can fight on their back foot. They can utilize their jab. But you can't utilize the long game against somebody who's taller than you. You got to now fight on the inside, or you got to be able to be a counter puncher. You got to be tricky, or your feet got to be faster. But your feet got to be faster, but your feet got to be in, unison with your hands. A lot of heavyweights aren't really used to doing that. Now, Joseph Parker is one of the few heavyweights that you can say, yes, he can do that. Very light on his feet, very light with the jab, touch, go, move, rule. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that. And he has a chin. That's another thing that people, you know what I'm saying, can't avoid. That has to be, part of the conversation. Joseph Parker has a chin. So it's not like there's going to be one punch that JoJo's going to be able to hit him with and get him out of there. But I think this is going to be a simpler strategy in the sense of where Joseph Parker himself said, maybe I won't be able to knock him out with one punch, but an accumulation of punches, me just putting it on him, too much pressure, me pressuring him and getting him out of there, that can happen. Look, I'm going to reverse your game plan that you're going to put on me. I'm going to put on you. And Joseph Parker can do that because I think he has the strength, the conditioning, and the chin to do that. Right? But the same thing can be said about Joe Joyce. What if Joe Joyce says, no, hold up. If we're going to be in the battle with the trenches, we're going to figure out who's going to be able to do this. Who's better at that? Who's going to be able to push the pace more? Who's going to be able to, take the bigger shots? Who's going to be on their back foot? Joe Joyce doesn't fight on his back foot. Joe Joyce doesn't fight from a range or a distance. Even though he's usually bigger than most of his opponents, he comes forward on a constant and consistent basis. That's rare when it comes to someone that's that big at the heavyweight division. And that's why Tyson Fury has such success against Deontay Wilder. He did that against Deontay Wilder, a smaller opponent. So this is my question when it comes to the Joe Joyce, Joseph Parker fight. Regardless of how Joe Joyce is going to look, in training videos, sparring videos, fights, he always got the W. And the W usually ended with a knockout or a TKO. And that's what you can take. So how is Parker going to be able to deal with Joe Joyce's pressure? Because he's going to get pressure and he's going to feel the pressure. The same way Chisora pressured Joseph Parker. As much as I love Joseph Parker and he's a man, I love his fundamental skills. I love everything he does. At the end of the day, there was times in that fight where Derek Chisora was the one pressuring Joseph Parker. And Parker had to figure it out. But yes, Andy Lee addressed that in that particular video we just watched. Okay, there's times where he puts his, like I said, he takes the foot off the gas, he takes a break, and that's where he gets capitalized off. We're working on that not being the case. Can you break something like that? Yeah, probably. But you're talking about one fight in? Is Joe Joyce really the guy you want to try and test and see if that's broken on? We'll see, right? And what's anything better than seeing it for ourselves? And we just pulling up the goddamn video. So let's go ahead and we just did the training day with Joseph Parker. So let's go ahead and we're gonna pull up Joe Joyce's training day. We're gonna see how he's looking. Obviously, he's not gonna be looking as crisp as Joseph Parker. He's probably going to have much more training footage because he's not in the camp with somebody like a Tyson Fury. That's one thing that's probably also when I hate like fighters switching and they go to a big camp with a big name. I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but when it happens like that, it's like, man, I wanted to be focused on that particular fighter for this fight, but you got to include Tyson Fury because it's gonna bring the people watching. You feel me? More eyes to the shit. So it is what it is. Party game. All right, let's see what we got going on the Joe Joyce side again. Let's go.
Camp's been going really well as usual. Battle hardened and ready, and I've done a lot better in sparring. Like, I'm really in a good place.
Let me know when you are ready. Okay?
3, 2, 1.
Okay, round one.
That's Takam. It look like Takam to me, huh? What y'all think? It look like Carlos Takam? Joe Joyce is the classic example of you can't judge him by what he does in but there's people who really like that. I know that. I'm like, if you play the sport at all, there are people who they're terrible in practice, but when the game comes, they crazy. And there's people that's great in practice and terrible when the game comes. Like, I think Joe Joyce is one of those guys that's like, he don't look the greatest when it comes to like sparring footage, pads on and stuff, but when the fight happened, that nigga always perform, man.
It's great that Takam's here because he's
Yep,
you
I
know
knew it was
the
to
right
come.
dimensions for
Protect him,
Parker,
you know, I
and he
hope he's
comes with
to
like
come.
a lot of bent arm shots, like uppercuts and hooks,
14
and
no, I
he
said 16 or
comes
17.
forward and he did 8 rounds with me today, which was like great work for the both of us.
I fight a little bit like a Joe, like a Parker. I'm more fast. Parker is the guy in the ring. You don't want to catch him because he always move left, right, throw the jab. So I try to work with that.
A jab, man. I know it doesn't look great, and I know, and like you can tell, Joe Joyce is definitely just tapping.
It's like a
But
engine,
Jesus.
you know, when he start, you cannot stop him. Bam,
No.
bam, bam, non-stop.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, like, I can see his jab coming, but I still take it.
You hit him with everything you've got, and trust me, I've hit him with some big shots, and he's like, he just resets and walks back.
That's one thing, man. I'm telling y'all, man. Y'all can keep doubting Joe Joyce. Y'all can keep talking everything. Anybody who listen, anybody who watch this, y'all probably already know what my prediction is, but I'm not finna say it till the actual fight happen. But y'all keep doubting Joe Joyce, man. I'm telling y'all, man. He's different.
Back and keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming.
Beautiful.
We always get good, intense work, and I think that's why Joe likes having me back. Salas likes it because he knows that I'll bring a bit of heat, and yeah, I'm not afraid to get stuck in. And sometimes you need a bit of that crash bang wallop sparring.
Nice.
Joe Joyce landed everything he just threw.
When you fight Joe Joyce, you've got to be prepared to go 12 rounds because it's going to go the distance if you're going to beat him. That's the only way. You've got to beat him on the distance, and I don't think that's going to happen in September.
I just don't see Joe. I'm not gonna say
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Look at the body work from Joe Joyce. Jesus.
Also, you kind of
If you're not
working on
impressed
things
by
that
this, I
Salas
don't know,
wants from
man.
me. He's
You must
calling
not know
out stuff
boxing.
like in between rounds and sometimes during.
Because I'm like, you can tell Joe Joyce is definitely not like, he's not going 100%. He's not going, 110%. He's going like 45%, and all that's gonna matter, man. All that's gonna matter. He's putting in the work. The work rate is beautiful.
Like what I need to do and what I need to work on, and just remind me of things so I can practice in there.
Beautiful, Joey. Yeah, do something. Yes, that's good. Thank you. I love the way you do. Yes, beautiful too.
We've got our game plan going in there. We watched a tape of him. I've got a plan and in my head where I can capitalize and land shots on him, and what the danger punches he's going to throw and how to like react and counter to them.
There we go. And you should.
To him, Joey. To him. Yes.
Good work. We're gonna do 5 minutes, just like we did with Tyson Fury. My bad. I said that. See, they showed Tyson Fury too much for Joseph Parker. Like, you see, this is all work from Joe Joyce. Like, you can get excited, you can give it rate. Like, this look work. Look at that uppercut landing right there on Takam. Like, you know what I'm saying? Be careful trying to get on the inside with Joe Joyce, because Joe Joyce, man, he can fight on the inside, man. He does great work on the inside, but I'm like, man, that's the only thing that I never liked when it comes to, like, fighters, moving over to camps with a popular, another popular fighter there already, because they get clout off of that. Not the fighter, but I mean the network and the promotional company. So you seen it was a lot of Tyson Fury talking. I want to see more work from Joseph Parker. You feel me? Like I'm seeing here.
Yes. Joey nuts. Joey nuts. Joey nuts.
Forward, that's great work.
Joey nuts. Let's go. Joey nuts.
Speed forward. Catch your counter, go. Any punch goes, can't wait. Beautiful.
10 more rounds. 10 more rounds.
It's good work right there.
Thank you. Well done. What a sparring, man.
I had fun in there. I'm sure he did, and yeah, it's really great to have him here in Vegas. It's not the first time I've done that. Like Like when I got in GB, I beat Fraser Clark, and then I literally shared a room with him. So some boxers you can be friendly with, but then when it comes to fight, like Joseph Parker, like I'm friendly with him and Fury, and but once you get in the ring, then you have to have a different mindset because it's a competition, and you're against your opponent, and you want to win. So you can shake hands afterwards, basically.
It's crazy, man. I remember when Joe Joyce, man, back in my younger days, man. I remember when he used to be on the mic. It don't matter if he was in an interview or a post-fight interview. You feel me? And what I mean by interview is like before the fight. So I should specify a pre-fight interview or a post-fight interview. It don't matter what the case was. Bruh almost sound like he was terrible on the mic. He didn't sound terrible. Like he was boring. Didn't say nothing. That's why I wasn't really a fan of him. But his skill level in a sense wasn't there neither. But when you watched him in the ring and what he did to the opponents, it's like you couldn't deny what I'm like. There's something about this dude. And then he was 6'6" doing flips. So I'm like, he got the athleticism. 6'6" motherfucker weighing over 250 doing a straight backflip is crazy. So I don't know, man. But it's crazy to hear, what I'm saying, how much he evolved. Like he sounds like it's like he's being more natural. He being himself. Like, what I'm saying? It's dope.
It's going to be a really good fight between Joyce and Parker. Really going to be really exciting fight. I can't wait to see that fight. Really, I can't wait to see that.
I think it's going to be a great fight because he's hard to hit, and he comes forward. He's got good power and head movement and footwork, and so it's going to be a bit more of a technical thing. He'll be the best level opponent I've faced so far.
I believe you will do more. You will do more.
All right, I'm gonna stop that joint right there. We're gonna do 5. We did 5 minutes, both sides. You feel me? I gotta respect both. You feel me? I don't even lie. I was more into the Joe Joyce side of the game, maybe because I'm being a little biased, whatever the case may be. But y'all gotta stop sleeping on my guy Joe Joyce. You feel me? This fight finna be epic, and I'm happy it's happening, man. Like for real. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you because I really didn't expect it to actually happen. Like I really thought this was gonna be one of those fights that everybody was gonna be what else. Because remember, it got made at one point, and all of a sudden it got canceled because somebody was saying supposedly Frank Warren announced it too early. Wasn't supposed to be announced yet, but it ended up getting made. Like when I saw it originally, canceled, I was like, this fight ain't happening. It's too risky. A lot of people don't want to fight my guy, All right, here we go. Let's check out the IG side again.
Going into this fight, I am fully focused and confident that I can get the job done. There's no doubts, there's no worries, because I've done the work. So when the fight comes, this lump is going to get a lump on his head.
I believe Parker will hurt Joyce lots of times this fight because Joyce is easy to hit and Parker's punching very clean. I know when he's gone. I know when he's ready to go, and I'll be shouting the job.
They got music on everything. Well, Parker fighting all, big boys. So he's probably used to punching up by this point. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a hell of a fight. I can't wait for this fight, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. So it's some mid work with his new trainer. I don't really like the big step every time that's new when it comes from Parker. The big step when it comes to the jab. Usually he hides his jab. But I think that's from him, the current trainer he's with. he's throwing a lot more power punches, so he's looking for the knockout. So he's just really he's really putting everything in everything he's throwing. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know, man. It's gonna be risky business against Joe Joyce. It's gonna be risky business, man. I think he's gonna really come. I think he's looking for the KO, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think we're gonna see a crazy ass fight. I don't think it's going on 12 rounds. Like he's fighting a lot more on it. He has a lot more shorter shots, sitting down on the punches. He looks amazing though. Like Jesus, his boxing ability to feet with the hands. He's way more of a cleaner boxer than Joe Joyce. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like that's why I'm a fan of Joseph Parker. Like dude's a welterweight and a heavyweight's body, man. Like his ability, everything about him is absolutely beautiful. Like I would hate for him to lose to Joe Joyce because it's almost like damn, how much does boxing ability really matter? Like, I want Joe Joyce to I want Joseph Parker to annihilate Joe Joyce, but I just think the few deficiencies or the few negatives or the few, openings that Joseph Parker does present in his boxing game is actually a big plus when it comes to the strategic way that Joe Joyce approaches the game, man. That's my personal opinion. But he looks great. Everything's me like the new stylistic approach. He looks great. I love what I'm seeing, man. He's getting used to being on the inside, which means like that's what Andy Lee was talking about, not taking no breaks. Because before, for the most part, Parker, he would be on the inside when he wanted to be on the inside, but you know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, I'm an outside fighter. And I feel like that's what cost him against Joshua, was because like you going against a fighter or someone, stylistically who's athletically and physically, bigger than you, and he understands how to use his jab where he can stay on the outside. You can't play the outside game with someone who's bigger and taller than you. You have to figure out how to fight on the inside. And that was one thing he was lacking. So I do see from this new trainer, he's teaching them like, hey, yo, if you are a smaller opponent, this is how you need to get on the inside. This is how you need to approach it. You got to be okay with getting hit. And this is how you want to be, feel safe. Now, too little, too late. Can you teach an old dog new tricks, even though Joseph Parker is a younger 30 years old? Will he be able to implement this enough for him to get a W? I don't know. But the fact that he's been taught and he's going to try and put that into play, man, that makes me excited for the fight. But yeah, it's obvious, Joseph Parker looks much better. I know that.
Your recovery. This part ain't working. Right hand hook.
Excuse me, my bad, y'all. I did that right in the mic. My bad, y'all. Parker look crazy, man. He looks in amazing shape.
Your recovery. This part ain't working. Right hand hook.
Sheesh. Yeah, Joseph Parker look a monster. I'm not even finna lie to you. Like, god damn. That's gonna be some tough shit, man, to deal with when it comes to Joe Joyce. I'm like, if he's able to put that type of pressure on you yourself, he's really able to work the body, come on top, go over the top, go back to the body, use the jab, get on the outside, move, angle, switch, put you in a position where you feel like you're uncomfortable. We're talking about Usyk 2.0. So, and I think that's one thing that, Joseph Parker kind of took out of his game after the Tyson Fury fight, was just like, being comfortable being on the inside. Because I thought that was really what won him the Andy Ruiz fight. He was amazing on the outside, but when they got on the inside, when Andy Ruiz tried to, throw some of them power bombs, Joseph Parker did a good job being able to slip a lot of them, get up under them, and then really return with some shit and get back on the outside. So, what I'm saying, the ability and the comfortability to be on the inside and work, I feel like Joseph Parker kind of got away from that. So hopefully we're going to see that again, because I think it's going to be very key when it comes to Joe Joyce, because you can't just stay on the outside with Joe Joyce all day long, because at the end of the day, Joe Joyce will come forward, and he will continue to come forward if you don't try to bully him back. You can't not play the bully against Joe Joyce and think you're going to win the fight. You're like, yo, you can't keep coming forward, my nigga. This is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? All right, so what I'm finna do, you gotta go to Joe Joyce. You know what I'm saying? I can't disrespect Joe Joyce. We're gonna go to Joe Joyce next up. You feel me? And then after that, we got the Terrence Crawford shit we finna talk about. You know what I'm saying? You already know. I probably should have did the story for Joseph Parker, but whatever. All right, here we go. I'm finna throw this joint up. All right, here we go. Let's see what they're talking about with the story. You feel me? All right. Just want to see what's on. Let me see if we can get some training footage or some footwork. You know what I'm saying? We got some gym lifts. All right, let's work. Heavyweight. Not mad at it. You gotta do what you do. You feel me? Put in the work. I'm not mad at it, but here we go. That's where we want to be at. You feel me? You feel me? Not the greatest, but you know what it is. Like I said, man, you gotta watch him in the ring. JoJo is like, you can criticize him all you want when it comes to hitting the mitts. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. But I'm like, he more so like a performer. You feel me? Like, he definitely don't look the greatest on the mitts. But he a big boy though too, man. Yeah, but then Tyson Fury 6'9". So I get it. I get the criticism. I get it. All right, I'm gonna look that up and see what they got. That's how you know Joe Joyce is a big boy right there. Look at that. He look about an inch taller than the Wilder. Well, Wilder's supposed to be okay. Well, Wilder, he ain't in his shoes. That's the thing right there. Wilder, he ain't in no shoes. Because I'm like, Wilder's supposed to be 6'7", and Joe Joyce look an inch taller. But if Wilder put on shoes, yeah, he be 6'7". So Look, I'll be the first to admit, Joyce, he just don't look good on training footage, man. He really don't. But it's like you just got to pay attention what he does in the ring, man. Because that's where the work gets put in, man. I'm like, you want 6'6" be able to do some shit like that easy? Bruh. Telling you right now, man. You got to respect it. I think this is going to be a good fight, man. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be a mega fight. I think people aren't giving this fight enough love, enough appreciation. And maybe they are. Maybe I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm overhyping it. Maybe I'm being extra. Maybe I'm talking some shit that's not even what it is. But me personally, man, I think this fight is a better, you know, is a better fight than Triple G versus Canelo. Like I'm more excited for this fight than I was for that particular fight. Like I think this fight going to be more fire than that fight. I think the whatever happens after, the ramifications, I think it's going to be more potent than, you know what I'm saying, whatever, you know, is going to happen after Canelo Triple G, you know, results. That's my personal opinion. Make sure you hit the like button too, man. If y'all come up in here, man, hit the like button, show some love, please. But I can't wait for it. You already know we're going to be Fluence Lounge for it this whole entire week. I'm going to be talking about it, so y'all better not get tired of it because I'm going to be talking about it. We're going to cover every aspect of it, the weigh-ins, open workouts, all that good stuff. So I can't wait. And then when Fluence Lounge come up this Saturday, we finna go crazy, man. It's gonna be earlier in the day. So for all my US people, Joyce versus Joyce versus Joseph Parker is happening like midday. It's gonna be like around 5 or 6 our time. So it's not gonna be late night. So there's not gonna be no late night Fluence Lounge. It's gonna be midday. So if y'all gonna join me, y'all gonna be on it when it comes to Joseph Parker versus Joyce. It's gonna be midday. We're gonna have a good time. You already know what it is. So if y'all come up in here, hit the like button, show some love. We're gonna be, you know what I'm saying, tracking everything, talking about everything, watching everything. But all right, salute to that. We're gonna move on. You feel me? And we're gonna go on to the next topic of the night. I'm feeling good. I actually went a little bit extra with the first topic because I was feeling, what's the word for it? I was heavily invested in it because I'm a big fan of Joseph Parker. I'm a big fan of Joyce. I never thought this fight would happen. So for it to be happening, it's kind of like mind-blowing for me. Like I'm happy that it is going on, but damn, I'm going to be sad. I don't care who loses that fight. I'm going to be sad. So that's me being 100. But we're going to talk about Crawford versus Spence. We're going to talk about it because I've talked about it a little bit last week. We still don't have any signed contracts just yet, but we're very close. That's what everybody's reporting. That's what everybody's saying. But the reason why I want to touch on Crawford versus Spence is because a lot of people have a lot of things to say about this particular fight. Now that we're getting really close to happening, a lot of people are saying Errol Spence is going to win. Some people are saying Terrence Crawford is going to win. Some saying the fight's being held up, and the reason why there's no signed contracts is because Terrence Crawford. A lot of people are saying Terrence Crawford, you can't complain because you're just now getting the fight and you got the, you know, lower split in the deal. This is on you. There's a lot of different narratives when it comes to this, you know, particular subject. So with that being said, I don't want to be long-winded. That's the last thing I want to do. We had a lot of people talk about this particular subject. You know, specifically a lot of boxers. So the first person I actually want to bring up, because he has the, you know, the longest response to it, is going to be Andre Ward. You know, Andre Ward already, he, you know, a little bit controversial take. He said, you know, Deontay Wilder will be able to put them hands on Alexander Usyk. It's going to happen at least one point in the fight. He didn't say that he was going to KO him. He didn't say he was going to get him out there. It's going to happen. Eddie Hearn said Alexander Usyk would dominate every round. Andre Ward said, hold up. Wilder's going to find that right hand at some point if it ends up going that way. But, you know what I'm saying? I want to go ahead. I want to pull up what Andre Ward had to say about the Spence versus Crawford breakdown. We're going to talk about a little bit about that. If y'all got anything to say, make sure y'all hop up in the comments. I got the link up. I know it's a weekday. I know people got work. I know how it goes. It's all good. Don't gonna feel no way. Feel away. I don't care. I'm gonna take a little break. You know what I'm saying? Midday break, midnight break, whatever you want to call it. But we're gonna pull up this good stuff right here when it comes to Spence versus Crawford. Andre Ward got some shit to say. Y'all already know the case. Let's get it.
Spence Ugas. Yes, exactly.
I'll be right back, y'all.
What did you think?
Impressive. Impressive. Impressive.
Hit that like button for your boy. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not part of the BlakGooseTV family. You know what I'm saying? Show some love. You feel me? Subscribe. Notification bell. Like the video. Show some love. You feel me?
And when they're training with a sense of urgency, and he had a sense of urgency about him in his training, and a sense of urgency with his focus. So I knew he was going to be ready. I expected more out of Ugas, but I don't think that's a knock on Ugas. I just think that Errol was just that great that night, and I just got a lot of respect for Errol for what he's gone through and how he's bounced back. It's remarkable, man, and that young man has a tremendous story. Hopefully he writes a book one day, and I know his story's still being written, but he some of the stuff he's overcome just outside the ring is phenomenal, and his goal was always undisputed, and here he is. Him and one of my other brothers in the sport, Terrence Crawford. It looks like it's gonna happen. I believe it's gonna happen, and this is what we need in boxing, but this is what both of these fighters need for their legacy. They both had great careers, but this takes them to a different stratosphere, the winner of that fight. And, I don't get involved in their politics. And when I say politics, I mean the boxing beef and the back and forth. I don't touch that. I stay out the way. I know my lane. When I talk to Errol, I talk to Errol about Errol. We talk. I talk to Terrence. I talk to Terrence about Terrence. I don't never get involved in, man, this is how you beat this one, this is how you beat that one. I don't get involved and I stay out the politics. But I love them both. I wish they both could win the fight. Bar up a draw, that's not going to happen. Even a draw, you didn't win. So, I wish they both could win the fight, but that's not possible. But I just appreciate how these young men have carried themselves, man, and just how they went about their business. And, boxing is a very difficult sport, bro. And I'm not just talking the punches. I'm talking about the business, the media, the temptations, the fight to stay focused, all of that stuff. All of that stuff. And here they are. They're setting their families up for life. And they're on the precipice of an all-time great welterweight fight. And what I know about both of those guys, neither dude is gonna be turned around easily. Neither dude is going to be turned away easily. So they both going to have to go through fire to get it done. And I just can't wait. I just can't wait.
Well,
I just can't wait.
I mean, I think all of us agree. I mean, none of us can't wait for that fight. Doesn't sound like anyone's going to be getting a breakdown from you regarding that particular fight. But just when you imagine that fight, are there any other fights in the past you could kind of, I don't want to say compare them to, but just kind of, describe how it might play out, I guess, so to speak. Is this like a Leonard Hearns type of fight? Is this going to be
absolutely
okay?
Not necessarily stylistically,
right?
But in terms of the magnitude, and absolutely, yeah.
I just,
and I'm gonna say this, and both fighters know this already. Neither fighter has ever fought a fighter like the other. EJ has never fought Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford has never fought an Errol Spence.
That's a fact.
And as much experience as they have, they don't have any experience fighting any fighter like the other. And then you got all the
Ward saying that off experience, man. You thinking about that nigga Jermaine Taylor fight? You thinking about that Sergey Kovalev first and second fight, nigga?
years of build up and the things that have been said, and then things that, you know, obviously heating up again because, you know, the potential, the potential for the fight to happen is fresh and new coming off, you know, Spence coming off the Ugas win. But, you know, as an analyst and as a fan, I want to see how Bud deals with the steady pressure of Errol, right? Like Errol, people say, oh, you know, he fights one way, but it's effective. And it's a reason why he's breaking down and beating a lot of great dudes.
Talk
and
about
why
it.
he has the resume that he has. And I want to see how Terrence Crawford deals with the physical strength of Errol Spence. I want to see how Terrence Crawford deals with the southpaw style
of Errol Spence.
The body punching from Errol Spence, because Errol's going to go downstairs, and when you get hit into the body, you ain't got to go down, but it's still effective. And it shows up midway through the fight, late in the fight, and that's going to be a grueling fight. So everything is going to count. Everything is going to matter. Right? I want to see how Terrence Crawford deals with the power of Errol Spence.
Or sound like he think Errol Spence finna put that work in on Terrence.
Errol Spence deals with the reach of Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, his arms are extremely long. Me and him shadow box, we play, and sometimes he'll get something close to my face, and I'm like, bro, how you reach that? His arms are extremely long for being a welterweight. I don't know if it's 73, 74, somewhere around there, but he's got long arms. How's Errol going to deal with that, the reach of Terrence Crawford? How's Errol Spence going to deal with the different styles that Terrence can bring to the table? Terrence can bang. Terrence can float around and box on his toes. Terrence can fight off the jab, and Errol can too. But I'm just talking about Terrence right now. How is Errol?
Terrence Crawford got a 74-inch reach.
Terrence Crawford, when he gets hit on the chin for the first time, what's going to be his response? So I can go back and forth all day.
Errol Spence has a 72-inch reach.
And we just don't know. We can speculate, but we don't know.
So Errol Spence has a 72-inch reach. Terrence Crawford has a 74-inch reach. That body work is going to have to be exactly what Errol Spence is going to lean on. I even realized that until Andre Ward pointed that out.
They got to get in the ring, and we got to see it unfold. And I'm telling you, that's going to be an all-time great welterweight fight. And I believe, and I don't know how they're going to work it, but I believe that there should be a rematch clause for both fighters. So I believe we should be on the hook for at least 2 fights with these 2 fighters. I can't see.
That's a good point from Andre Ward. He's saying there should, at the very least, be a rematch clause both in place. I don't know. Terrence Crawford is taking a substantial less, amount of money, or at the very least, not a substantial less amount of money, but he's taking a significant, smaller split when it comes to this particular fight. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 65-35 is supposedly what's been reported for the split. 65 to Earl, 35 to Terrence. But of course, I argue that he is getting all the 35 because he's currently a free agent. He's not signed with any promoter, so it's very different. You get a 45, 55 split, but he probably won't make as much money from that if he got a 45-55 split with a promoter than he would doing a 35-65 split by himself, and because he's keeping everything, and he's probably just paying the people that he loves and the people support him the way he wants to pay him, and no one has no control of what he's doing. So I do think that's if you understand what's going on, it's a little bit misjudgment in how you see the split. Obviously, Errol Spence and his team is getting a lot more money. That doesn't mean Errol Spence is getting more money. It means his promotional team, his promotional company, his management, all that stuff, they're getting more money. Because it'll be interesting to see how that contract goes. But anyways, either way it goes, supposedly, and then also too, remember this, this fight isn't signed on the dotted line yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything has been verbally agreed to. Everything is on the right. The paper's on the the writing's on the paper. The agreement's on the paper. Everyone's on the same page for the most part. We haven't had a signature yet. So, you can't get too excited until we got a signature. But, with all that being said, I still think this fight's going to happen. I think Andre Ward, I love that I just listened to that because he pointed out some things that I didn't even think about. Errol Spence, he may not be able to utilize his jab against Terrence Crawford because even though Terrence Crawford maybe be smaller in weight, smaller in stature, he has a longer reach, 74-inch, 72. We all know that, Terrence Crawford, a lot of his weapons are utilized off that jab. We also know Errol Spence, a lot of his weapons are utilized off the jab. Errol Spence is probably going to push the pace, go to the body a lot more than usual. Not really. It's going to be a lot more than usual because he goes to the body crazy either way it goes. But it's going to be interesting to see if Errol Spence is going to be able to get in a comfortable position. If Terrence Crawford finds a way to be able to take away Errol Smith's jab, which a lot of times the taller, bigger opponent can't do. But, like we've seen, i.e. like a Canelo, if you can get to that body, you can get that body. And the bigger, taller opponent, even though Terrence Crawford's not taller or bigger, he's more so his reach. He's not going to be able to utilize that particular aspect of the game plan that he feels like, is going to work in his favor. So it's going to be an interesting fight. But at the end of the day, what I need to see is sign contracts. That's what I'm waiting to hear. Everyone's speculating at this point. Everyone's, projecting. Everyone's saying prediction. This is the case, all this other stuff. So that's what I'm waiting for. But I'm like, there's so much hype behind it right now. There's so many people talking about it right now. It's almost impossible not to think that the fight's not going to happen. It would be crazy for it to have this much hype behind it for the particular date that's supposed to come out and the fight not actually happen. That would be next level disappointment. Like, absolutely. I'd be like, what? There was one other thing I want to talk about too, but all right, so here we go. This is actually breaking news for the people. This actually was just dropped by Fight Hype. Salute to Fight Hype. 45 minutes ago, we got the most recent update when it comes to this particular fight happening. So that's fire. Look, this is what happens when you put in the time and you put in the work. So look, we got the most recent update. I was just saying, I need to find a pen on the paper. The pen on the paper. So I'm gonna do this full screen for the people. It's also for myself. You feel me? Because I'm interested to see what he got to say. So let's go. Most recent update. Fluence Lounge. You already know I'm finna clip this. You feel me? Put this out tomorrow morning, something like that. Let's see how close we are. He looked happy in the mug. You feel me? He looked like, yeah, I'm happy in the motherfucker. You feel me? So I feel like we about to have some good news. So here we go, y'all. Let's see what he got to say.
Fight Hype coming to you today.
Maybe it's just my shit. So I'm just going to play it through. All right, here we go.
With the latest development on what many assess to be the boxing event of the year, the welterweight bout for supremacy, for undisputed supremacy between co-undefeated champions Errol Spence Jr. of Texas and Terrence Crawford of Nebraska. I am told today that basically the fight is at hand of being
here we go
official. According to, I have to
y'all
read
here, boy.
Some of it's sensitive matter. According to an individual familiar with the negotiations, but unauthorized to speak publicly about them due to the sensitivity of the talks, attorneys are for both parties are now doing what's called documenting the agreement, just basically going over the final bits of language to get a deal done. And I'm told that an announcement for this fight could happen within a matter of days. It's that close. In recent days, the sides came to terms on what was basically seen as the last major obstacle to this deal, which was the splits for a rematch. Both men have the opportunity in defeat
it's just
to
my
invoke
side.
a
Cool.
rematch.
All right, I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I don't care. I'm starting it over so I can hear everything.
I have to read some of
I had to make sure the volume was right.
According
So
to
be mad at me. I don't care.
Familiar with the negotiations, but unauthorized to speak publicly about them due to the sensitivity of the talks.
Gotcha.
Attorneys are for both parties are now doing what's called documenting the agreement, just basically going over the final bits of language to get a deal done. And I'm told that an announcement for this fight could happen within a matter of days.
Talk about it.
In recent days, the sides came to terms on what was basically seen as the last major obstacle to this deal, which was the splits for a rematch. Both men have the opportunity in defeat to invoke a rematch in a bout that many expect to be actually a greater financial success.
Both got to. So If Earl beats Terrence, Terrence can do a rematch. If Terrence beats Earl, Earl can do a rematch.
Given the skill that we know, the high quality of the fight that we expect in this November 19th bout, because of the talents of Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. Again, the date for the first fight is expected to be November 19th in Las Vegas. At this point, it's uncertain which network is going to get it, as both Fox and Showtime are aggressively pursuing the rights to stage this pay-per-view bout.
Hit the like button, y'all.
While the talks have been agonizingly long, we've learned from two sources very close to the situation that one of the issues that dragged this thing out for as long as it did had to do with Terrence Crawford's ties to alleged Irish drug cartel leader Daniel Kinahan.
Wow.
PBC head and Spence advisor Al Heyman wanted absolute assurance, insisted upon absolute assurance that Kinahan had no financial involvement in the fight.
Wow.
For good reason. We know that the U.S. Treasury has an intense focus on Kinahan as he's holed up in the Middle East. And we know that there's been intense scrutiny of those who have done business with Kinahan. Both Tyson Fury and the boxing trainer Ben Davison have basically been not allowed to leave the UK for the U.S. based on the information that we've had from several sources, based on their connections to Kinahan. Sources told me that Heyman was tempted, actually, because of his discomfort with Kinahan's involvement, to walk from the negotiations.
Interesting.
But he ended up receiving sincere assurances that Kinahan was not going to be financially involved in this fight. And again, Heyman...
I just want to say this. As much as I love Terrence Crawford, I'm very unbiased when it comes to the facts. If y'all remember the fallout when it came to, not Terrence Crawford, but obviously his trainer, as well as Jamal Herring, because of ties that had nothing to do with MTK Global, which also had to do with Kinahan, and initially got dropped because of that. I don't want to go into detail because I don't have the details in front of me, but I know that was a big part of it. So interesting.
Wanted Errol Spence, his fighter, to be in position to gain, this legacy victory and stand as an undisputed welterweight champion and earn his greatest purse ever. He was ultimately satisfied, as I said, that the Kinahan factor is not a factor and this fight can proceed. So again, I am told that an announcement for this fight could be as close as quote unquote days away. And obviously this is great news for boxing fans who have looked to see these generational talents square off and establish exactly who is the undisputed king of the glamour welterweight division. Thank you so much.
So what y'all think, man? That's a lot to take in, man. He's saying basically, I don't know how much I want to believe that, because of course it's easy to put the blame on Terrence Crawford. It seemed like almost I was with agreement with what he was saying because of the information I gave. But at the end of the day, it's like, when he was with Bob Arum before all this shit popped off, don't try to make that be like this the main reason this fight never happened, because nobody knew about that shit. Just, the same amount of time you didn't know about it. So, and if you knew about it beforehand, you would probably be accomplice. So, don't try to make that be like it's the reason why this fight never happened, because nobody knew. So, with that being said, how y'all feel about that, man? Happy Tuesday to the people, man. Had a good time, man. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. I talked about a whole lot of good things. I want to appreciate Jason Taylor for coming up in here, man, talking that good shit, man. Really, showing love to the people, man. We're going to be back tomorrow with some new shit. I can't wait for this weekend, man. I know we don't got nothing going on, late at night. That's not going to be the case. The Fluence Lounge is going to be earlier than usual, but the Joyce versus Joseph Parker fight is going to be fire. gonna be fire. And I'm very interested to see if Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence ends up being announced later this week. Is that gonna be the case, or is it gonna be cap? That's what I'm interested in learning. That's what I'm interested in seeing. That's what I'm interested in paying attention to. I want to say this, man. Y'all keep looking forward. Y'all keep paying attention. Y'all keep making sure that you doing the best you can. You feel me? And at the end of the day, no one's gonna understand your best interest except yourself. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm so happy this is the end of the stream, because a lot of people don't get to the end of the stream. So I'm gonna go away from Fluenceboxing for a little bit. I'm gonna vent, and then we're gonna cut it. So this is what I'm gonna say. Sometimes the people that's closest to you, those are the ones you got to be wary of. Not in the sense of no disrespect. You always respect everyone around you. You always make sure everyone's good. You know what I'm saying? Don't be on no bullshit. You fuck up at certain times, but you know what I'm saying? Be cool. You know what I'm saying? Show love, positivity, all that good stuff. It don't matter what the case may be. You're stronger than the negativity. If you want to be negative by yourself. You feel me? But with that being said, be careful and be wary of those who are closest with you, because the ones who are most comfortable with you, they the ones that try to tell you who they think you is. They don't know who you are. They have an idea of who you are for the time being. They was around you, so they create something that they feel like this is who this person is. But at the end of the day, the same way they are always ever evolving. If they choose to be, you are as well. So if you choose to always evolve, if you choose to always try to do better, you choose to always elevate yourself, you can't be stuck in a box. So you have to be wary and careful of those who decide to try to stick you in a box. And if you find yourself in that position where someone's trying to stick you in a box, the only way you can get out of it is making sure that you move. Distance. People are always going to criticize distance. People are always going to criticize separation. People are always going to criticize isolation. Because a lot of people are going to say it's not natural, but in reality, it is natural. Look at nature. I don't even want to get into the specifics. Isolation is part of the game. Self is part of the game. A lot of people are scared. Validation comes from others. Validation does not come from yourself. So a lot of people want to surround themselves by people so they can have validation. Around people that are giving them validation. You gotta be careful. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, be strong. You're going to make mistakes, but keep moving. Don't feel like you need somebody else to tell you what you need to do. What you need to do is learn and progress and move and be confident in yourself. Sometimes distance from those closest to you is the strength that you need to move. Don't be scared to do something that doesn't make sense to others, but it makes sense to you. Don't be scared to put time into something that you love, but others don't. And also don't be dependent on anybody else. Don't ask for nothing unless it makes you wiser. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying it again. Don't ask for nothing unless it makes you wiser. If you're asking for something that's trying to benefit you and it takes away from somebody else, don't do that. Unless you're talking to a bank. Don't ask for nothing unless it makes you wiser. Unless you can implement it yourself and you can do it yourself. So all I'm going to say is salute to the people. BlakGooseTV all day. Had a good time. It's late. I never thought I would go this late. I had a good time. Amazing time. Appreciate the people. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. You already know what it is. Smooth time. Move time. Feeling like the greatest. Fuck if you the latest. It don't matter, man. As long as you're here, I appreciate you. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Road to 5K for the end of the year. You already knows, man. We're keeping it realer than realer. Put in the work. We're going to be back tomorrow. You already know what time it is. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Check out the videos. Fluenceboxing. Daily check-in. Fluence Lounge. We'll have a good time this weekend, man. We got a lot of topics. I can't wait for Joseph Parker for JoJo. It's going to be crazy. Those other people. I'm out of here, man. I'm going to have a good time for the rest of the night. I love y'all. Appreciate you. I'm out.